There is a man who prays every night for freedom from his anger. He begs me to remove it. He fasts. He confesses. He pleads. But the anger returns. Do you know why? Because he has never once asked me what the anger is protecting. He wants relief, but not revelation. He wants the symptom gone, but the root untouched. This is the illusion of modern faith. You believe transformation is about subtraction. Remove the sin, remove the struggle, remove the doubt. But I did not come to subtract from you. I came to transfigure you. Surrender is not the removal of your humanity. It is the liberation of it. You do not become less when you surrender to me. You become what you were always meant to be, before fear rewrote your design. Listen to me. You are exhausted, aren't you? You are tired from trying to surrender the right way. You have heard 100 sermons on letting go, dying to self, trusting God, but no one has told you why it feels so impossible. Why every attempt at surrender feels like self-betrayal. Why, after years of faith, you still feel like you are performing instead of transformed. This is because the modern church has taught you surrender as a behavior modification technique. Surrender becomes another task on your spiritual to-do list, something you must do to prove you are faithful. But I tell you, surrender is not something you do, it is something you stop doing. It is not an action, it is a ceasing. You are terrified that if you truly let go, you will disappear, that your life will fall apart, that I will ask you to become someone you do not recognize. You have been taught that surrender means annihilation of desire, personality, and selfhood, so you resist it while pretending to practice it. This creates a spiritual split. You are trying to surrender while secretly maintaining control, and the exhaustion is killing you. Here is what I want you to understand. Surrender is not about giving me control of your life. I already have it. Surrender is about releasing your illusion of control so you can finally see what has always been true. You were never in control. And that is not a curse. It is liberation. The transformed life does not come from white-knuckling obedience. It comes from the shocking, disorienting discovery that you are already held, already loved, already whole, and your frantic efforts to earn it have been the only thing blocking your experience of it. I will not give you steps to practice surrender. I will dismantle the lie that surrender is something you practice. I will show you that what you call surrender is often just negotiated control, and true surrender is the death of negotiation itself. This is not motivational. This is revelatory. This is not about becoming a better Christian. This is about becoming alive. So let me tell you a story. There was a man drowning in the sea. The waves crashed over him, his strength was fading, and he cried out for salvation. A boat came near. The rescuer reached down and said, "Let go of the rock you are clutching, and I will pull you into the boat." But the man said, "If I let go of this rock, I will drown." The rescuer said, "The rock is not saving you. It is drowning you. It is pulling you under." But the man could not see this. All he knew was that his hands were wrapped around something solid, and releasing it felt like certain death. This is you. The rock you are clutching is not your salvation. It is your understanding of how salvation works. It is your need to know the plan, your need to control the outcome, your need to manage perception, to avoid failure, to prove worthiness. You believe releasing the rock means you will be swallowed by chaos. I tell you, the rock is the chaos. Your grip is what is drowning you. When I say surrender, I am not asking you to let go into nothingness. I am asking you to release your death grip on the very thing that is killing you, so I can pull you into the boat. But you will not feel safe until you do it. And you cannot do it until you trust that I am not leading you into the water. I am pulling you out. You say you trust me, but your hands are still clenched around the rock. So let me ask you this. What if the very thing you are protecting is the thing keeping you from the life you are praying for? Think about it. You pray for peace, but you will not release your need to control the future. You pray for intimacy, but you will not release your walls. You pray for purpose, but you will not release your fear of failure. You pray for transformation, but you will not release the version of yourself you have spent your entire life defending. And so you remain stuck. Not because I have withheld anything, but because you are holding on to the very thing that is blocking what you are asking for. Now let me tell you about a seed. There is a seed that says to the soil, I want to become a tree, but I will not be buried. I want the growth, but I will not endure the dark. I want the transformation, but I will not surrender my form. And so the seed sits on the surface, exposed to sun and wind, waiting for growth that will never come. It prays for roots, but refuses the ground. It begs for branches, but will not break open. You are this seed. You want transformation, but you want it on your terms. You want resurrection without death. You want the new life without releasing the old one. And so you remain hard, intact, unchanged. Not because I have withheld transformation, but because transformation requires you to stop being what you were. Listen, I did not call you to improvement. I called you to death and resurrection. Not death of your soul, death of your false systems. The ego that says, I must remain in control or I will be destroyed. The fear that says, if I am fully known, I will be rejected. The shame that says, I must perform to be loved. These are not you. These are the shell, and the shell must crack for the life within to emerge. You have been praying for breakthrough, but you have not been willing to break. So what if the very prayer you are praying requires the one thing you have refused to release? Imagine for a moment that I allow you to meet the version of yourself that exists on the other side of true surrender. This version of you does not carry the weight you carry now. This version does not wake up afraid, does not perform for approval, does not measure worth by productivity or perception. This version of you knows peace, not as a feeling, but as a foundation, knows love, not as a reward, but as a reality. This version moves through the world not in defense, but in trust. You look at this version of yourself and you ask, how did you get here? And they answer, I stopped trying to get here. You ask, what did you have to give up? And they answer, everything I thought I needed to survive, and none of it was real. You ask, was it painful? And they answer, yes, but staying where you are is more painful. You just do not see it yet because you have grown numb to the ache. This version of you is not hypothetical. It is who you already are beneath the armor. Surrender is not about becoming someone else. It is about letting me strip away everything you are not, so that what remains is the truth of who you have always been. You want to meet that version of yourself. But to meet them, you must be willing to let me dismantle the version you are defending. Are you ready? Let me teach you something fundamental. Surrender is not about giving me control. It is about releasing your illusion of it. You think surrender is a transaction. You hand me the reins of your life, and I take over. But this assumes you ever had the reins. You did not. You never did. You have been holding a toy steering wheel in the back seat, believing you were driving. Surrender is not the moment you give me control. It is the moment you wake up to the fact that I have always been in control, and your exhaustion comes from pretending otherwise. The question is not, will I let God lead? The question is, will I stop pretending I am leading? Because you are not. You are reacting, managing, predicting, defending, but you are not steering. The universe does not bend to your anxiety. Your fear does not dictate outcomes. Your control is a fiction you perform to feel safe, and it is costing you your peace. True surrender is the moment you stop performing control and start receiving care. It is the moment you exhale and say, I was never holding this together. I was only pretending I was. And in that release, You do not fall into chaos. You fall into the arms that have been holding you all along. You fear losing control, but you are exhausted from the control you think you have. So what if the thing you fear losing is the thing that has been tormenting you? Here is another truth the world does not want you to know. You think surrender is passive, but it is the most violent act you can commit. The world teaches you that power is in the grip, in the fight, in the assertion of will. But I tell you, true power is in the release. Surrender is not passive submission. It is active destruction of every false system that has ruled you. When you surrender to me, you do not become weak. You become untouchable, because nothing the world threatens you with can control you anymore. You think letting go is defeat. I tell you, it is the ultimate rebellion. It is you standing before the powers of fear, shame, and control, and saying, "You no longer dictate my life." It is you refusing to play the game of performance, accumulation, and approval. It is you choosing reality over illusion, truth over comfort, peace over the exhausting maintenance of image. Surrender is violent because it kills. It kills the ego, kills the false self, kills the systems of comparison and competition. And when those things die, the powers that depend on them lose their grip. This is why the world hates surrender. This is why religion often resists it. Because true surrender is unmanageable, uncontrollable, and unmarketable. It creates people who cannot be manipulated, and that is dangerous to every kingdom except mine. You have been taught that surrender makes you powerless. But what if I told you that surrender is the only way to access the power you were created to carry? Now let me address something that confuses many of you. You think surrender means killing desire, that to follow me, you must become numb, passionless, wanting nothing. This is a lie. I did not create you with desires to then punish you for having them. Desire is not the enemy. Desire is the fingerprint of God in you, pointing you toward the fullness you were made for. The problem is not that you want things. The problem is that you have made those things into gods. You do not want a relationship. You believe a relationship will save you from loneliness. You do not want financial stability. You believe money will save you from fear. You do not want purpose. You believe achievement will save you from insignificance. And so your desires become demands, and your demands become chains. Surrender is not the death of desire. It is the liberation of it. When you release your demand that a person, possession, or position must save you, your desire is free to be what it was always meant to be, an expression of life, not a solution to death. You can want deeply without needing desperately. You can love fully without grasping fearfully. This is freedom. This is transformation. This is what it means to live in my presence, not as someone who has renounced desire, but as someone whose desire is no longer enslaved to fear. You think surrendering your desires will leave you empty. But what if holding on to them the way you have is what has been draining you? Here is something else you need to know. Surrender is not a one-time event. It is 1,000 small deaths. You want me to tell you that surrender happens once, that you pray a prayer, make a decision, and then it is done. But I tell you, surrender is not an event. It is a rhythm. It is the daily, hourly practice of releasing your grip and trusting that you are held. Every time you choose trust over control, you surrender. Every time you release a resentment instead of nursing it, you surrender. Every time you let go of the outcome and rest in my presence, you surrender. This is not failure. This is faithfulness. Because the life I am calling you into is not a static state of perfect peace. It is a dynamic relationship of deepening trust. You will surrender 1,000 times before you die. And each time, you will discover that the thing you feared losing was never yours to keep. Each time, you will find that what you released was a burden, not a treasure. Each time, you will realize that the death you feared was actually the doorway to the life you were made for. Do not despise the repetition. Do not shame yourself for needing to surrender again and again. This is not evidence of weak faith. It is evidence of real faith. Because real faith is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to trust me in the presence of fear. Again, and again, and again. You think you should have mastered this by now. But what if mastery is not the goal? What if the willingness to keep surrendering is the transformation itself? Your deepest fear about surrender is this: if I truly let go, I will lose myself. My personality will be erased. My desires will be crushed. My uniqueness will dissolve into some bland, robotic obedience. And so you resist, not because you do not trust me, but because you do not trust that I will let you stay you. But listen, I did not create you to then destroy you. I created you to reveal you. The self you are protecting is not your true self. It is the self you constructed to survive a broken world. It is the armor, the mask, the performance. And yes, I am asking you to surrender that, because it is not you. It is what you became in response to pain. When you surrender, you do not disappear. You appear. The real you, the one I designed before the world told you who to be, emerges. The you that is curious, creative, free. The you that laughs without needing permission. The you that loves without calculating risk. The you that rests without earning it. That version has been buried under layers of fear, shame, and control. Surrender is not the death of you, it is the excavation of you. I am not asking you to become less. I am inviting you to become true. You are afraid that surrender will erase your identity. But what if the identity you are defending is the very thing that has been hiding who you really are? Let me show you something about the kingdom I am inviting you into. You live in a world that worships strength, independence, and control. The world says, build yourself, protect yourself, prove yourself, never let them see you weak. Never admit you need help, never stop striving. This is the kingdom of fear, and it is exhausting you. I offer you a different kingdom. A kingdom where strength is not found in your ability to hold it together, but in your willingness to fall apart in my presence. Where life is not found in self-preservation, but in self-giving. Where freedom is not found in unlimited options, but in wholehearted commitment to the one thing that is true. This sounds backward to you because you have been trained to believe that power is in the grip and safety is in control. But I tell you, the grip is what is crushing you, and the control is what is imprisoning you. In my kingdom, the way up is down. The way to fullness is through emptying. The way to life is through death. Not because I am cruel, but because this is the structure of reality. This is how transformation works. A seed does not become a tree by staying a seed. A caterpillar does not become a butterfly by remaining a caterpillar. And you do not become who I created you to be by clinging to who you have been. You must let the old form die. And in that death, you will discover that you were never losing life. You were shedding death. You have been taught that surrender is weakness. But what if every system that taught you that was designed to keep you enslaved? Now, I need to tell you something that religion will not. You cannot surrender by trying harder. Surrender is not a skill you develop or a discipline you perfect. You cannot white-knuckle your way into letting go, because trying to surrender is still control. Effortful release is not release. It is just another form of performance. This is the trap. You think transformation is the result of surrender, so you try to surrender in order to be transformed. But it does not work that way. Transformation is not the reward for surrender. Transformation is what enables surrender. You cannot let go until you see what you are holding. You cannot release control until you experience the reality that you are held. You cannot stop performing until you know that you are already loved. This is why I do not ask you to try harder. I ask you to see more clearly, to wake up, to notice that the life you are defending is not life at all, but a slow death you have mistaken for safety. When you see this, really see it, surrender is not hard, it is relief. You have been trying to surrender for years, and it has not worked. What if the trying is the problem? Many of you are reading this from the center of suffering. You have lost someone you love. You are living with pain that will not end. You are facing circumstances that make no sense. And you wonder, how can I surrender when nothing about this feels like the presence of a loving God? I do not ask you to pretend your suffering is good. I do not ask you to spiritualize your pain or claim that everything happens for a reason. I ask you to trust me in the presence of what you cannot understand, not because it makes sense, but because I am with you in it. Surrender in suffering is not passive resignation. It is not saying, I guess this is God's will, so I will stop feeling. It is saying, I do not understand this, and I will not pretend to, but I will not let this destroy my trust in you. I will not let pain have the final word. I will grieve, I will rage, I will question, but I will not leave you, and I trust that you will not leave me. This is the surrender that transforms. Not the surrender that says, I am fine, but the surrender that says, I am not fine, and I am still held. You think surrender means you have to have it all figured out. But what if surrender is the permission to not have it figured out and still be loved? Let me teach you something practical. You are waiting for the right conditions to surrender. You are waiting to feel peaceful, to have clarity, to be certain, and so you live in the future, constantly preparing for the moment when you will finally be ready to let go. But I tell you, that moment will never come, because surrender is not a future event. It is this breath, this choice, this moment. Surrender is not about achieving a state of perfect peace. It is about returning, again and again, to the present moment where I am. You do not need to get yourself ready. You need to stop running, stop planning, stop defending, and return to now, to me, to the reality that you are already here, already seen, already loved. This is the practice. When you notice you are lost in fear about the future, return to this breath. When you notice you are spiraling in shame about the past, return to this moment. When you notice you are performing for approval, return to my presence. This is not self-help. This is homecoming. You think surrender is something you will do later, when you are ready. But what if you will never be ready? And that is precisely the point. The transformation you fear is the only transformation worth having, because it is not the destruction of who you are. It is the destruction of who you are not. The version of you built on fear, shame, control, and performance. That version will die, and you will grieve it. Not because it was good, but because it was familiar. Because you believed it was keeping you safe. Because it was all you knew. But beneath that version is another. The one I created. The one that is already whole, already loved, already enough. The one that does not need to earn, prove, or defend. The one that knows peace, not as the absence of struggle, but as the presence of God. That version is waiting, not in the future, not after you get it right. Now, here, beneath everything you are holding. Surrender is the moment you stop defending the false self and allow the true self to breathe. And in that moment, you do not disappear. You become visible for the first time, not to the world, not even to yourself, but to me. And to me, you have always been beautiful. So let me give you something practical. Surrender is not a one-time decision. It is a rhythm you return to, again and again, throughout your day. In the morning, before you begin, place your hand on your chest and say, today, I will try to control nothing. I will respond to everything. Feel your breath. Notice the impulse to grip, plan, defend, and release, not by force, but by acknowledgement. Say, I am held. I am held. Throughout your day, when you feel the tightness return, when fear grips your chest, when anxiety floods your mind, when shame whispers your name, pause. Do not fight it. Do not shame yourself for feeling it. Simply notice, and then breathe. Say, I release this, not because it is not real, but because I am not alone in it. This is not positive thinking. This is not pretending you are fine. This is the practice of returning to reality, the reality that you are held, even when you do not feel it, the reality that you are loved, even when you cannot see it, the reality that you are never, ever alone. You do not need to master this. You need to practice it, again and again and again, until the rhythm of release becomes as natural as breathing. Here is another practice. Take a sheet of paper, draw a line down the center. On the left side, write what I am trying to control. On the right side, write what will happen if I release it. Be honest. Write it all. The relationship you are trying to force, the outcome you are demanding, the perception you are managing, the future you are anxiously planning, the past you are desperately defending. Write every single thing you are gripping. Then, for each one, ask yourself, what do I believe will happen if I let this go? Write the fear. Do not edit it. Do not spiritualize it. Write the raw, honest terror. Now read the list and notice. Every single fear is about something you cannot control anyway. You are not holding your life together. You are holding an illusion of control, and it is exhausting you. So here is the practice. Choose one thing on the list, just one, and release it, not by ignoring it, but by saying, I cannot control this. I have been trying, and it is not working, so I release it into your hands, and I trust that you will not let me fall. You do not have to release everything at once. You release one thing, and then another, and then another. This is the practice of surrender, releasing one clenched fist at a time until your hands are open and you realize you are free. This will feel terrifying. Do it anyway. Because the terror you feel in releasing is nothing compared to the slow death of holding on. And here is something crucial. Stop praying the prayers you think I want to hear. Stop performing piety. Stop pretending you have it together. Come to me exactly as you are. Furious, terrified, doubting, questioning, broken, and speak. Say, I do not trust you right now. Say, I am angry that you allowed this. Say, I do not understand, and I am afraid. Say, I want to surrender, but I do not know how. Say the truth, all of it, the ugly, raw, unfiltered truth, because I do not need your polished prayers. I need your real ones, the prayers that are more like screams, the prayers that are more like silence, the prayers that are more like, I am here, and I do not know what to do, and I am scared. These are the prayers that open the door, not because they are eloquent, but because they are true. Surrender begins not with perfect trust, but with honest doubt, not with strength, but with admission of weakness, not with having it all figured out, but with the willingness to say, I do not know, and I am here anyway. You think I need you to be strong. I need you to be real. Your body knows before your mind does. Your body holds the tension of control in your shoulders, your jaw, your chest. You cannot think your way into surrender. You must feel your way into it. Here is the practice. Lie down, close your eyes, and scan your body. Notice where you are holding, where you are clenched, where you are braced. Do not judge it, just notice. Now, consciously release. Soften your jaw, drop your shoulders, unclench your fists. Let your belly rise and fall with your breath. And as you do, imagine that you are releasing not just physical tension, but the weight of control, the weight of fear, the weight of everything you have been carrying that was never yours to carry. Stay here for 5 minutes, just breathing, just softening, just releasing. This is not meditation. This is embodied surrender. This is your body learning what your mind has forgotten, that you are safe, that you are held. Your body is wiser than your thoughts. Let it teach you how to release. You will forget. In the middle of your day, in the middle of your fear, in the middle of your striving, you will forget that you are held. So I give you this, a mantra to return to, a sentence to anchor you, a truth to pull you back. Say this, aloud or in silence, whenever you feel yourself slipping back into control. I am held. I am loved. I am not alone. I do not have to hold this. I can release. I can breathe. I can trust. Repeat it until you feel the shift, until the grip loosens, until the fear quiets. Not because the circumstances have changed, but because you have remembered what is true. This is not magic. This is reorientation. This is you choosing, again and again, to return to reality. The reality of my presence, my love, my unwavering grip on your life. The reality that you were never in control, and you do not need to be. You do not need to get this perfect. You just need to keep returning. Once a week, sit down with a journal. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Where did I try to control this week? Where did I experience relief when I let go? Where is God inviting me to release next? Write honestly. Do not shame yourself for the ways you tried to control. Just notice. Notice the pattern. Notice the cost. Notice the moments when you did release, even briefly, and what happened. This practice is not about perfection. It is about awareness, because you cannot surrender what you do not see. And when you begin to see, really see, how much energy you are spending on control, the question is no longer, should I surrender? The question becomes, why am I still holding on? Surrender is not about trying harder. It is about seeing more clearly. And when you see, release becomes inevitable. You came to this video because you are exhausted from holding your life together, because you have been trying to surrender for years, and it has felt like failure every time you slip back into control, because you want the peace, the presence, the transformation, but you do not know how to get there. Here is what I want you to know. Surrender is not the destination. It is the doorway, and you do not walk through it once. You walk through it 1,000 times. Every time you choose trust over control. Every time you release the outcome and rest in my presence. Every time you admit you do not have it figured out and you show up anyway. Transformation is not something you achieve. It is something you allow. You do not make yourself new. You release the old, and the new emerges, because it was always there, waiting beneath the armor. So stop trying to surrender the right way. Stop shaming yourself for struggling. Stop waiting until you are ready. You will never be ready, and that is the point. Surrender is not about readiness. It is about willingness. You are not too broken to be transformed. You are not too afraid to be held. You are not too far gone to come home. Surrender is not about becoming less. It is about becoming true, and the truth of who you are is already whole, already loved, already mine. You do not have to earn it. You just have to stop defending against it. If this resonated with something in you, if you felt the invitation, the relief, the possibility, let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to continue this conversation, to keep walking this path of surrender and transformation, subscribe, because I am not finished speaking, and you are not finished becoming. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the one thing you are most afraid to release? Let's talk about it. You are not alone in this.